Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Shelly. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. Today I am sharing two tall slim journals that I have created using RainDropLila's Neutral Digitals. I will post her link down below in the description box. And their names are Lila and Lydia. I really had a lot of fun working out within her neutral digitals, and they were so much fun to create. And I'm challenging myself lately, working on simplicity, and not going so, just knowing when enough is enough in a journal, which is very challenging for me because I like to add beautiful laces and all sorts of yumminess in my journals. And yeah, let's get started. So I do have two of them here. And of course, I always create a mini journal with my tall slim journals. And let me get my ruler. Let's see. This is 4 inches in length by almost 3 inches in width. And it's just really cute. Now, what I did with her digitals is they are very neutral, but I went in through with my colored pencils and I colored in this flower. I added a sample stamp. Just think it's so pretty. And I added some of Esme's laces right here. And I just did some collage with some handmade paper, and it's embossed. Sample stamp. I added a little cream bow here with a pearl. And I added this to the center of that flower, which I also colored in my colored pencils. I can't talk today. Sorry, guys. But it's just a blank journal using all of Lydia's neutral blank pages, and it's in this very neutral. I know every printer prints out differently, but it's like the palest pink, and it's just so pretty. And it's just a blank journal. With lots of pages. You can definitely journal in this, guys. That's the center. Lots of pages. And I left it blank for you guys to journal in. So cute. And then here is the journal, and here, this is the closure. I added a ball pen with a few charms. And then, of course, my sari silk. And let's get this off. Don't you just love these little, I thought I got them all, but apparently I did not. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Little stragglers. And I love this. I love sari silk, so they're always added in my journals. And then I just added one of these just for the front there, and I added this crocheted for the wrap. So it'll come wrapped in this crocheted part of a runner. And here she is. This is Lydia. And that's the name of that's her name, and I just figured I would name it after her. And the other one is Lila, because her Etsy shop is RainDropLila, and so the other journal's named Lila, and this one I named Lydia. So I really love it. I use my vintage wallpaper, and then I sprayed it with my Tim Holtz spray. I've been using a lot of this stuff lately. My oxide spray in Tattered Rose. And if you can see the bits of the pink. I'm not sure if it picks up on the camera. But I just love that look. And I sewed all the way around. And then I printed her digital out in fabric paper. And so this is fabric. And then I colored her in, because she's just plain neutral. I colored her in with my colored pencil in the blush pink. It's so pretty. Just for that little pop of color. And the little flowers in her book there. And I just did the regular book binding. And this is using Esme's ruffled trim with sequins, and also her little floral trim here with pearls. And I just love it. And then I added Sampool's stamp up there in Victorian velvet. And I added a little bow and just some more of these little crocheted flowers with pearls. And so let's take a walk on the inside real quick. And I used parchment paper, coffee dyed parchment paper on the inside. And again, I sprayed it with the oxide spray. And I love the look. I'm going to shut my blind a little bit because I'm getting a little bit of sun. Not that that's a bad thing, but that way I'm not getting a glare. I hope that's better. Yeah. So in here I added a vintage book page. And then I used, I just made a homemade paste with baking powder and my regular glue, and I stenciled it on there. And I love the 3D effect and the texture on there. I thought it was pretty. And then we have an old vintage, I'm not sure where it comes from, but it's dated in 51. And then here are her pretty digital papers here. They're just so pretty. And here I just did a little collaging using her ephemera pieces there. Vintage book page. And here's some of that handmade paper that I embossed in Sampool stamp. And then I used we have a music paper here, and I just stenciled in Victorian velvet. Here's that pretty pink paper. I love it. So there's plenty of room to journal in. And like I said, I've been challenging myself to be a little more simpler within my journals. And I kind of really liked how it turned out, and I think I achieved that. So there's definitely plenty of room to journal in, guys. In here, using her digital, I created a belly band. And inside we have this beautiful swan. And of course, I colored it in with my colored pencil. And here is the back. You can definitely journal in the back. And then I just stenciled in this parchment paper. Oh, her digital's pretty. And here I made another ephemera card. And again, I colored using my colored pencil in blush pink. It just gives it that pop of pink, which, of course, is my favorite color. And then we have an old, The Lover's Tale vintage book page, and I did stencil in Victorian velvet on that. And I just did a little collage here with her beautiful, you know what, I want to color in that swan, and we're going to do that right now. I hope you guys don't mind, because I did it in the other journal. Hang on. I did that one in my other journal, and I meant to go back and do it in this one. And we'll just be real quick about it, guys. Just did, looks like it needs to be sharpened, but I think I can manage it. I just need that pop of pink. See how her digitals are so neutral? And it gives you the opportunity to do so many things with it, just to change it up just a bit with that pop of color. I love it. And this little flower here. It was so much fun. Just want that little bit of pop of color in there. 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 Isn't that beautiful? So it's just a little collage with a sample stamp, 1842. And then I created this ephemera card. Again, I added a sample stamp up on the top. And of course, I painted her dress pink. And the little flowers down there. And it's on that handmade paper. And I embossed it and added some seam binding on the top. Little bow with a pink eyelet. And here again, here's that texture paste. I just used baking powder and regular, like Elmer's glue, and mixed it all together and stenciled that right on there. I just love it. And I added this old vintage page on here. This seems to be stuck. There we go. I just did some collaging here on this page using her printables. Sample stamp 1904. The handmade paper. Old vintage book page. And then I did some stenciling, The Lover's Tale. It went perfectly in this journal. Then here I created a pocket with one of her digitals. Add some beautiful trim here. Added sample stamp. And on the inside, I just simply stenciled on some paper, and you can write in there. Here's that texture paste I created on my own and just stenciled on there. Here's some more collaging. And I use sample stamp. And then I used, this was gifted to me by Marlene. And I'm not sure if it's wallpaper, but it's very textured and it was a pink. So I used my, I went over it with this just to tone it down a bit, my gesso acrylic medium. And then I created a little bookmark. I just did some collaging, added some of Esme's trim here, some crinkled seam binding, and I'm using all my rose gold paper clips. And here is the center, and I created this out of a book page and then layered it with her beautiful digitals. Sample stamp here. Did some sewing, and it's just a side pocket. Added Esme's beautiful trim. And here you have this ephemera card. Certainly journal in the back. And I sewed each side. Some stenciling, collaging, sample stamp. It's her beautiful digitals. Every single item in here, like this cream background and very neutral background, is hers as well. An old book page, which I also did some stenciling, and then I created this floating pocket using a vintage book page. And then in the back I just did some stenciling with Victorian velvet, inked the edges, and added a sample stamp here in the bottom. Sample stamp here, Esme's beautiful laces, and these are all using Lydia's digitals. And in here we added this little letter. You can certainly journal in. There we go, and that just sits right in there. And tucks right up there. Then I created a belly band here. Look, I love her digital. And I created an ephemera card. And of course I painted the swans in my blush pink colored pencil. That sits right in there. Did some stenciling on this book page. Here's the other side of that vintage paper. There's another ephemera card, and again, I used my colored pencil. Isn't that gorgeous? Certainly journal in the back. Just did some stenciling. And again, here I made another floating pocket. It's so pretty. Using her digitals. Again, I use my colored pencils to color that in. And here is the back, and using sample stamp. And here is one of her beautiful digitals. Isn't that pretty? I love it. And that just sits right inside that pocket. And it clips right in there. definitely plenty of room to journal and stenciling. Did some collaging. Sample stamp. Then here I made a pocket, sample stamp, and another ephemera card. And just stapled one of Esme's beautiful mesh lace there. And again, I use my colored pencils. So pretty. There's that music paper with some stenciling. And that's the end. See how simple it is? It was really fun. I don't know. I just enjoyed creating these journals. It's just so pretty. I mean, there's a lot of ephemera in there, but yeah, it's the simplicity of it and being able to actually like write and add your own. So I just thought it was pretty. So we will just, that is one. And the other one is pretty much the same thing, guys. Her name is Lila. I forgot a yo-yo flower. There we go. I added one of those. And then again, here is the little mini journal. Use my colored pencils, and it's blank, guys. Just using her neutral digital papers. Tons of pages in here. Parchment paper. It's the center. And again, I have a ball pen with some, it's the same thing. Matches the color of the journal. And of course, the Sorry silk. And let's get these little stragglers. It's the only thing about Sorry silk. And again, we have this beautiful, which is wrapped in it. I love it. This was gifted to me by Marlene. Thank you, Marlene. And an order that I placed with her a while back. And here she is. This is Lila. And again, I printed her out on fabric. And again, I used my colored pencils on that fabric. And I stamped, sample stamped there on the bottom. Esme's beautiful crocheted flower trim. And her beautiful sequined ruffle trim. It's regular binding. Here is the back. Again, I loved using this on the vintage wallpaper, and I sewed all the way around. And a little pink bow. Sorry guys, I needed a sip of my coffee. Parchment paper, and then I love this stuff. Use a lot of that. And I love the effect that it gave on the coffee dyed parchment paper. I love it. And here's my paste that I made and stenciled on there. But this time on this one, I added, while it was still wet, I did sprinkle on, this is coming off. It's from Prima Prima, and it's called Antoinette Pink, and it's just like an embossing powder. It's pretty. Just thought it was something different. And I like the effect it gave. Here we have a floating pocket. I made it out of some vintage book page. And then I covered it. Here I used my colored pencils again on her dress. It's so pretty. And it's using my, actually it's in rose. But I do have a blush pink one too. I think I used a little bit of both. Yeah, here's my blush pink one. Blush pink and rose. It was quite fun coloring these in. I really enjoyed it. So I just simply did some collaging here, added some Esme lace, stenciled the back, sample stamp. And this is one of her digitals. Or did it go this way? No, it went the other way. I was right the first time. And that just tucks right inside that pocket. I'll put this together. You would think. Here we go. Some stenciling on that book page. I love stenciling. You'll find them always in my journals. Here I created a belly band using her digital. And I made this ephemera card. And of course I used my colored pencils. Certainly journal in the back. Some parchment paper that I did some stenciling on. Again, here is that. I just love that look. Did some collaging. And here, again, yeah, I used fabric. So that's on the other journal too. I wasn't quite sure I had to feeling it. This is printed on fabric. And I use sample stamp on the top in Victorian velvet. Use my colored pencils. You have a pink brad with a little bow. And that's on that embossed handmade paper. It's that crinkled seam binding. So pretty. And the other journaling card that I made is also on fabric. I love it. Stenciling, some collaging. Here's that paste again. Another journaling card. Use my colored pencils. Isn't it so pretty? And then here is an old vintage book page that I added in here. Just did some collaging, sample stamp. Sample stamp. I used that stencil. Victorian velvet. Definitely plenty of room to journal in. Here I added a pocket using one of her digitals. I added this beautiful trim here in the corner. Used my colored pencils and penciled that in. Look, it's just so pretty, so simple and pretty. Did some stenciling, it's just blank paper. You can certainly journal and write in. Stenciling on this book page. And here I created a bookmark. Here's another floating side pocket. Did some sewing on each end, sample stamp, Esme's beautiful floral rose trim. And isn't that beautiful? And again, using my colored pencils. And that just tucks right in there. This is the center book page stenciling. I added a pocket here. Look at, isn't that beautiful? I just love that. Of course, I colored in that swan. You can journal in the back. So pretty. Stenciling, some collaging, sample stamp. That's in that Victorian velvet. Another side, another tuck spot. And I painted in her beautiful dress and book in the little flowers. Esme just stapled some of Esme's trim up there. And then we have another floating pocket made out of a vintage book page, sample stamp, Esme lace, this beautiful digital. These are her digitals. And again, I stenciled in the back, sample stamp, crunched it up a bit. Isn't this beautiful? I love that image. Stenciling, collaging. A little bit ephemera card. And I colored that in again. It's so pretty. I love it. I love how it came out. I should have printed out another page so you guys can see the comparison because it's very neutral. And I just wanted to add that touch with my colored pencils. Stenciling on some parchment paper, some collaging, sample stamp. Of course, I use my colored pencils. Another beautiful ephemera card. Stenciling. And that's it, guys. I just love how this came out using this on the coffee dye paper. It matches so perfectly with the pinks. And that's it, guys. This is Lila. So that's it, guys. These will be listed in my Etsy shop as soon as this video is uploaded. And I'll put these all back together. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And please comment. I love to hear from all of you guys and what you think. All right, guys, until next time, much love and hugs. And we'll talk to you shortly. Thank you. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.